It's great to be here. Great to see
Good to
you.
see you. Thanks for coming on today. And I'm excited to talk about overcoming our business blocks with hypnosis and find out what all that entails. So, I'd love to just kick it off with you giving us a little bit of a background of what hypnosis is and what you as a hypnosis practitioner do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hypnosis is actually a natural brainwave state that we all enter into every day. So, it's the state between sleeping and waking. So, anytime that your mind drifts off and you go into a daydream, you're in that state of hypnosis. So, you actually self hypnotize every day. Yeah, yeah. So what's important about that is that you're accessing your subconscious mind when you're in that brainwave
Mhm.
state, and your subconscious mind is your deeper knowledge of yourself, your beliefs about yourself, all of those things that came from your formative years of your basically your programming, the things that you absorbed as a child, your beliefs about who you are, what you're capable of, and it's all kind of running in the background, um, often without us really realizing it or knowing it, and we're basing our decisions in our daily lives off of this programming. Yeah, so what I do as a hypnosis practitioner is I help women break free of these looping thoughts, these self sabotaging behaviors that are stemming from things in their subconscious mind. So I do that all virtually, talk them into a state of hypnosis, look for that root cause of when that issue entered their life and when they began to adopt a belief that's not serving them,
Mhm.
identify that and reframe it and help them to adopt new positive supportive beliefs that are going to help them move forward.
Okay, awesome. So I operate in analogies, and for me, that kind of sounds like us using our computer every day. And in the background, the computer has its operating system that has a certain code. So we've developed this code kind of as we grew up. And every day we're sort of accessing that code in some way to make decisions and do things in our daily lives. And then when we consciously work with a hypnosis practitioner, we're going to kind of dive into that code and maybe we're going to rewrite it a little bit. And that's going to give us access to more tools, better decision making, etc. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it is oddly a great analogy and the way that your mind works. And you can think of it almost as like bugs in the system, right? Is these things that are causing problems in our programming and really preventing us from achieving the things that we want to achieve. So, yeah, that's an excellent analogy.
So, what are some business blocks that hypnosis might help us with?
Yeah, I see a lot of things. You know, being a business owner in general can really bring to the surface a lot of things that maybe have been lying dormant for a lot of years. And um, things like money blocks, and this can manifest into procrastination and fear and all of these things. So if you take, if you look at fears of visibility, this can really prevent someone from achieving their goals, because as a business owner, you have to make sales, you have to grow your business. But if you're really having these hesitations about putting yourself out there, about talking to customers, about um, putting yourself out there, and oftentimes that's a fear of judgment, it's a fear, maybe some sort of insecurity. I see a lot of imposter syndrome as well, because what happens is once you start putting yourself out there, oftentimes we look around and we notice, wow, there's a lot of other people trying to do this same thing, and we start to focus on that, and we start to go, wow, they're really good. Brooke is really so much better at this than I am. she's smarter, she just seems so much more capable. And all of those looping thoughts in the background are preventing us from putting ourselves out there, from taking the steps that we need to take. Um, and then business blocks, or I'm sorry, money blocks as well. Like, these are things that we absorbed as children. And when you came into this world as a baby, you didn't know anything about money. You didn't need money, right? And then you soon came to learn that money is going to be really important for your survival. And this is, but you learn things from those around you, your parents, the things that they said, the things that you observed. So when you're observing your parents working very hard for very little money, you might adopt this belief that carries through your life that you have to work very hard for very little money. Or you might believe from your parents that wealthy people are dishonest or they're greedy. And even though you are actively setting these goals and consciously trying to achieve something, if you have this belief in your subconscious mind that you will not be a good person if you achieve that wealth, it's really creating this cognitive dissonance, this push and pull, and that can manifest again into stress, anxiety, procrastination, because it's this internal battle happening and preventing us from achieving the things that we want.
Yeah, and I think the self-awareness around that, and understanding that, a lot of times you can't logically talk yourself out of these beliefs. So a tool like hypnosis could maybe provide you a different type of support than other business tools. Let's say, even business coaching, what I do, I can see how hypnosis would touch a different layer of your self-awareness, and like I said, kind of doing that reprogramming in a way. Is that kind of how hypnosis is different from other business tools that might support you in gaining your confidence, for example?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's really good at helping someone identify why they're having the behaviors that they're having, and how to let go of that old, a lot of times underlying emotional problems or beliefs about themselves. And oftentimes, as business, we're trying to will ourselves to do right. It's like willpower, and it becomes exhausting. And that's often a sign that perhaps something in the subconscious is battling with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's a great point, is kind of for us to think about in our own circumstances, in our own businesses. How would we know if we needed a hypnotist, or how would we know if we wanted to use the tool of hypnosis on a more conscious level to kind of break some of these patterns? And so that idea of looking for those areas where you consistently resist, or you sort of hear yourself having the same internal dialogue that seems to be creating procrastination around a certain thing, then it might be like, oh, little question mark or light bulb or something, like, hey, maybe you want to go beyond the surface level and dig a little bit deeper there, using hypnosis as a tool to do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It's when you identify that, hey, maybe the obstacle is more internal than external.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a look at that and really letting those things go, so that you can move forward, you can achieve what you're looking to achieve with less resistance, right? That's the ultimate goal, because we all can willpower ourselves, but it becomes extremely
Yeah.
exhausting. And often there's a lot of anxiety and extreme stress and burnout,
Right. I
but
think that's the point. Like, you can will yourself only so long, and then it's sort of like it caves in. I guess it's kind of, if your business foundation is built on wobbly stilts, you can get by for a little while, but a big strong gust comes over and that might knock you off course eventually. So, do you have an example maybe of a business owner who has worked with you or just used hypnosis to overcome a particular block?
I do. So I have a client who's a solopreneur, and he came to me because his business, he wasn't achieving his financial goals to the point where he thought he would have to go back to a 9 to 5, which he was super distressed about.
Mm.
You know, the dream was kind of failing basically, and we worked on his money blocks. We did a couple of sessions, and he had an amazing transformation. He really let go of these old childhood stories about money in his life, and within a few weeks of that, he closed $40,000 in business and completely changed his business and was able to, yeah. So, and that's the power of your own mind. I mean, that's, a lot. We are so often the thing in our own way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really interesting to me to hear that it can happen fairly quickly. You said just a few sessions. How do we kind of know when we should seek out hypnosis? And then also in terms of how you work, is it, you want to work with someone for a block of sessions rather than just one because there may be lingering things that don't necessarily get cleaned up in that initial session, and is it something that you can do virtually?
It is. So I do, all of my sessions are virtual. I've worked with women in London, Cairo, New York, all over. And it's just as effective. And uh, so I offer a free consultation, and that's really for someone to get to know me, for me to learn about what is going on with them and identify, is this something that could help you? But most people, when they start to realize that the things that they are trying to do to relieve the problem is not working, they're coming up against um, a block where they can't get past it no matter what they do. That affirmation, um, all of the things that they're just coming up against it again and again and again, and when they get to the point where they're like, I just want to get over it. But yeah, in 30 to 90 days, people have amazing results. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And I think it's just important here to kind of point out, I really hadn't thought about this at the beginning of the conversation, but I think a lot of stereotypes around hypnosis, having it, have been used on the stage as something that sort of seems like a gimmick, right? That gets people to take action. You do obviously want to work with someone who is certified, who is respectable, has experience, and having that initial conversation is really going to help you understand whether that person is empathetic to your situation, and then how they work so that you can kind of be comfortable in that setting, because I would assume that you need to be comfortable letting go to a certain degree to be able to get to that brainwave state. Otherwise, you're going to kind of stay in more of the analytical state, and that's not that would just be you trying to help yourself again.
Exactly, and that you're 100% spot on with that. It is important that you feel that trust, and that you are able to, feel that you have that trust, and that you're able to relax into that state, and go into that state. So, and during an initial, someone will quickly be able to determine that. But yeah, that's ideal. The ideal.
Okay. Good. That's good to know. So if someone does want to get in touch with you and have that initial consult, I know here on Instagram, your handle is Christina Kranick, at Christina Kranick, Christina with a C and Kranick with a K. Where else can they go to connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is kranick.com, just my last name. And they can schedule a free consult right from there, and we can determine if this is something that works for you. So, and see if we can get you back on the road, the path to success, and help people, get out of their own way so that they can achieve their unlimited life.
Well, thank you for sharing this tool with us today and giving us a better understanding of how it might help us in our businesses. And also just sort of dispelling some of that stereotypical imagery of what hypnosis might be. But it was great to have you on today. Thanks for your patience with the technical issues. And I look forward to staying in touch and also just seeing more success stories from your clients.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye.